This is Gobekli Tepe, one of the world's oldest man-made structures, dating back around 11,000 years. This site suggests the existence of an advanced civilization that not only had astronomical knowledge, but also the ability to build and carve advanced structures during an era where archaeologists claim mankind lacked proper tools and consisted of primitive hunter-gatherer groups. Located in southeastern Turkey, in the Sanliurfa province, at the foot of the Taurus Mountains, Gobekli Tepe, or Potbelly Hill, is an ancient archaeological site found under an artificially constructed hill. The site was discovered in 1990 by German professor Klaus Schmidt, and it remains one of the most mysterious sites in the world, with only around 5% of the site having been excavated so far. Modern radiocarbon dating shows that the earliest structures at Gobekli Tepe were built around 9,500 BCE, making it over 11,000 years old. This predates Stonehenge and the Egyptian pyramids by several millennia. This era, known as pre-pottery Neolithic, was a time when the Neolithic people were transitioning from the more primitive hunter-gatherer lifestyle to one based on agriculture. The site was significantly expanded in the early 9th millennium BCE and remained in use until around 8000 BCE. Previously, it was believed that the site had been intentionally buried as part of a ritual. However, recent evidence shows that it was filled in by slope slides. During this era, the Earth was emerging from the last glacial period. Temperatures were rising, melting vast ice sheets that had covered large parts of the northern hemisphere. This warming trend brought about more temperate and stable climates. This brought about the extinction of many of the large Ice Age animals like the mammoth and the woolly rhinoceros. Other animals like deer, bison and wild horses thrived during this era. During the excavations conducted by Klaus Schmidt and his team in the 90s, they uncovered multiple large stone circles, each featuring massive T-shaped limestone pillars. These pillars were decorated with intricate carvings of animals and abstract symbols. The largest of these pillars is around 7 meters in height, with a weight of around 50 tons. The pillars are arranged in circular and oval formations, known as enclosures. The site consists of multiple enclosures, each containing 2 large central pillars, surrounded by a ring of smaller pillars. These stone circles have diameters between 10 and 30 meters. The positioning of the pillars and the way the enclosures are oriented suggest a significant level of pre-planning and coordination in their construction. The builders of Gobekli Tepe used simple stone tools to quarry, shape and carve the limestone pillars. However, the precise methods used to erect these massive pillars remain controversial, with some even speculating that extraterrestrials were involved. However, current archaeologists do not believe this was the case. Archaeologists disagree on how much labor was needed to construct the site. Klaus Schmidt estimated that moving the pillars alone would have required hundreds of people. However, others estimate that just 7 to 14 people could have moved the pillars using ropes and water, with techniques used to construct other monuments such as Stonehenge. Klaus Schmidt's view was that Gobekli Tepe was the central location for an ancient cult of the dead, and the carved animals were created to protect the dead. Many butchered bones have been found at the site from various animals, including large amounts of gazelle bones, which were only seasonally present in the region, suggesting that events such as rituals and feasts were likely timed to occur during periods when game availability was at its peak. Until recently, the site had been interpreted as a ceremonial or ritual center. However, modern evidence such as domestic structures have led modern excavators to interpret the site as a domestic settlement. One of the most mysterious findings at Gobekli Tepe was that the pillars contained symbolic patterns that seemed to link them to other ancient structures worldwide. Now remember that this was supposed to be a time of primitive hunter-gatherers who would have had no way of communicating with other cultures around the world. But if we look at this pillar found at Gobekli Tepe, we can see that the arms can be seen along both sides of the pillar, with the hands coming together at the navel. According to researchers, this posture symbolizes birth or rebirth. Strikingly similar designs have also been found in many locations, including the ancient rock structures in Gobustan, Azerbaijan, and the Tiwanaku ruins in Bolivia, as well as other parts of Turkey. But perhaps the most mysterious is that the huge statues of Easter Island were also constructed in this similar style, with the hands coming together at the navel. In the tradition of the native people, Easter Island was also originally named the Navel of the World. This becomes even more mysterious when we consider how isolated the Easter Islands are and how they are almost on the other side of the world from the Gobekli Tepe site. Gobekli Tepe is not alone, and there have been many mysterious cases of striking similarities between the buildings of the ancient world in areas where there is supposed to be no cultural interaction. Perhaps ancient civilization was much more well-connected than previously thought. Other more controversial interpretations include that it was actually an ancient astrological site. Striking parallels have been found between the designs of Pillar 43 and the positioning of the Sun and the constellations of Scorpio and Cygnus. A research paper by Italian archaeoastronomer Giulio Magli suggests that the pillars of Gobekli Tepe appear to have been aligned with the rising of the dog star Sirius. Magli used maps and satellite images to draw lines connecting two specific stones in each enclosure. Three of these enclosures appear to be oriented toward where Sirius would have risen in 9100 BC, 8750 BC, and 8300 BC. Magli suggests that the temple might have been built to commemorate the appearance of Sirius in the sky, which could have potentially inspired a new religious belief. Although this hypothesis has been debated, and modern research papers by Andrew Collins and Rodney Hale suggest that this deliberate alignment with Sirius is unlikely, as Sirius would have barely been visible from the site. However, it is still likely that it could have been aligned with Sirius if we consider that Sirius was very important in the ancient world, with many different cultures worshipping the star. If ancient culture was much more well-connected than previously thought, as shown by the striking similarities in various ancient structures worldwide, and if we consider the fact that many of these ancient cultures worshipped Sirius, then the connection between Gobekli Tepe and Sirius might not be as far-fetched as previously thought.